can tell you right now, I already know the answers to my problems because of PFC. I have to get out of my own way and do what I'm supposed to be doing. And I already know what I'm supposed to be doing. It's just one very, very, very minute step at a time.
Until right now, this very moment, contractors have always been on their own, not as tradespeople, but being alone and knowing how to take their business to the next level. They call us working class, they call us blue collar. They say that we don't have the smarts to become the business owner that we're meant to be. That is such bullshit. You have the ability. You're more than any of that. The question really is, where do you get the insights that you need specific to contracting to systemize your business so you can get your profits to pay for your freedom? I'm Andrew Houston. I'm going to show you how to make more profits, how to get more control, how to get more freedom in the simplest, quickest way possible without any of that bullshit. Welcome to the No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. Listen up, level up, and if you learn something, like the video, subscribe to the channel, change your business, change your life. All right, everybody out there, all those brothers from another mother. I'm here with my man, Jason Galloway. We are going to rock the house today. I'm super pumped about today's podcast. Jason is going to show us, how you can, get more time back, get more profits, and we're going to touch on, very briefly about buffaloes and things of that nature. So that's going to be pretty cool as well. Anyways, this is No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. If you guys are looking at getting of your business, go from chaos to control, make more profits, and get your profits to pay for your freedom, you've come to the right place. So, Jason, my man, how you doing, brother?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. So, tell us, before we got on here, I was just asking you a little bit about yourself, and you mentioned something about buffaloes, and I was like, what? And I just thought it was so cool. So, tell us, where are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself, who's this Jason guy, about, your family and what have you. Just let her rip, baby. Who's this Jason Galloway rock star?
Yeah, owner of Galloway Construction. We're Eastern South Dakota's premier exteriors contractor. I live in Beersford, South Dakota. I basically do exteriors. Well, we do a lot of other stuff too, but live on a little ranch in Beersford, 12 acres, raise buffalo, and also do contracting.
Okay, so we're going to get, everybody listening in, we're going to get into the contracting discussion about how he's been able to make more profits and, increase his net profit massively and all the rest of this awesome things and some of the tools that he's used. But I got to find out more about these buffaloes. Dude, tell me about that. I grew up on a farm. We used to raise beef cattle, so Herefords, the white and the red. That was my dad's favorite. So you're raising buffalo. So how did you get into that? And tell me a little bit about it. I'm just curious.
So lifelong dream. We used to go to national parks, see them, and I'm like, man, it'd be so awesome to own those things. It'd be badass. And so I got married to my wife here. I moved to South Dakota 10, 12 years ago. Met my wife, got married, and basically both of us kind of said, hey, we want to live out in the country, and we want to try doing some different things. And contracting has paid for all of that. It paid for the first go round. It paid for the stock trailers, for the walk-in freezers, for all the feed. And so, it's a side deal and it's in its infancy, but we're going to see how it goes. Something I enjoy.
So how many head of buffalo you got?
9. I got 9 heavy ladies.
Wow. How much would they weigh, these buffalo?
So yesterday, 995 was the average on the hoof in the trailer. We first time I've taken them to the locker. It was quite the experience loading out of our pens, and with me running the show as, hey, I'm the guy. So there was a learning curve there, but it went all right. Everybody's safe. Only ran through a couple horse panels, folded them in half, and so we're good.
Wow, man. How many acres?
So we got 12 acres here. Got some horses, ducks, chickens, plenty of cats, buffalo.
Awesome. Awesome. Wow. I'm just blown away. And you've been doing it for how long now?
So I bought those buffalo March of last year.
Holy cow, man. That is exciting. Dude, I love it. I just bought a little hobby farm myself, like it's property wise. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we're in the process of like thinking about livestock and stuff like that. Again, it's in my roots. It's in my genes. My dad's still 86. He's got like 18 horses.
Okay.
He's crazy. Oh, he's crazy. He's just nuts. But anyways, let's talk about, we're talking about some of the things that you do outside of this contracting world, and you said something really important that I call it your profits pay for your freedom, right?
Yep.
And I think one of the things that's come up recently is it's come to my awareness that sometimes people, when they're in chaos, a lot of contractors are in chaos, or they're not making the profits they want, or they're not at where they want to be in life. Mm-hmm. They struggle with, like, what do you mean freedom, right? Like, what do you really mean by freedom? Because if they've never had it, and I didn't realize this, I'll be honest with you, okay? So this is a bit of sharing under the hood, no bullshit podcast, that you saying that, I think it's a good segue for us into where you're at, right? And where you've come from to be able to get this business to be more profitable, to work on with the team, the coaching team, and the tools and stuff to pay for this freedom. So one of the things of freedom for you was like to be able to live this dream of living out in the country, this dream of like, hey man, wouldn't that be cool? And instead of it being cool, it is cool because you're doing it, right? Like it's real, right? Mm-hmm. So tell us what it was like in the dark days, right? Like, the dark force, right? Like where were things at, man, when it was bad before you came to PFC, as far as being in chaos, and describe that so that people can relate.
So I got into contracting. My dad's a contractor, and I have 5 brothers, and most of them are contractors. So it's, I have a support system, and I was working for somebody at the time. My wife got into grad school. And so basically I got kind of pushed into it like, hey, you got to make a better life for your family because you don't have the schedule that you need. You're not making the dollars you need to make. And so I went on my own, and basically I've paid for an education at this point. So got into it, and the first 2 or 3 years, just banging my head against the wall, could not scratch out what I would figure a decent profit to be. And even if you would make anything, then there was always the what do they call it, the profit for contractors, like the bank balance accounting. I'm sure. Yeah. So there was that, and you're like, oh shoot, I forgot about that. And you're like, man, I've got $500 now. This is great. I had 80,000 at the beginning of the week, and now I've got 500. And
where the hell did it all go? Right?
Yeah, and you're just one thing leads to another, and you're like, man, I got to stop doing the same thing over and over. Exactly. And I'd seen your videos a long time before I ever, looked into PFC, and I personally have been part of other coaching programs. And
I didn't know that.
Yep.
So what was that like compared to what you've experienced here so far?
It's a different.
I don't even know how you're going to answer that. So let's see.
It's a different profit for contractors is a different animal. It's very nuts and bolts. When people say, hey, we're going to help you, that it literally means, hey, spreadsheet, this is the manual, this is the spreadsheet, this is the document that you use this as your framework. And it's very, very helpful for a guy in the trades, because I'm not a Excel guru or word guru to sit down and write copy. And so it's a lot different.
So talk about, you mentioned about 1 step forward, 3 steps back. Mm-hmm. Like, so what would that actually be? Like, give us an example of like the past, whether you're getting coaching in the past or what have you, where it was like, you're banging your head. What are they giving you? Are they saying, here's the principles, but here's not the tools, or hey, this is what you got to do, you go figure it out, or what?
Basically, there's a high level of understanding. My dad's been contracting for 36 years. And so I'll call him and I'll say, "Hey, Dad, how do I deal with this?" And he'll say, "Well, you X, Y, and Z." And you're like, "Man, I don't know X, Y, or Z." And so he just told you the answer, but you don't have the A through TUV to get to X, Y, and Z. You're literally missing everything before that because you don't have that piece.
Can I give an example?
Yeah.
Hey, Jason, you got to put more structure in your business. Hey, Jason, you got to make more profits. Jason, you got to charge more. You got to find better people. You got to. It's like,
oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Thanks, man. Thanks for the words of wisdom. No offense. I'm not, offending your dad, but like, okay. How the fuck do you do that? Where do I start?
Yeah.
Who do I need to get involved, right?
That's just something that comes up in my household all the time. My wife, prior to PFC, is you got to charge more. Literally same thing you said. You got to find better customers. We need more time. We need time to work on the house and the ranch and all this other stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, got it. How do I get from that point of knowing that I need to do it to over here actually doing it? And so I would say something you said reminded me, a lot of guys live in chaos. I think I wake up to chaos every day still. And so I don't think I'm not any better than somebody else. But what I do have is I have the tools to take me from point A to point Z. And we just tick that needle a little bit every day.
So, dude, I love the reality, right? Which is, I think that one of the things that we need to all understand is, as time goes on, we will struggle less with things, but there's certain common struggles that as contractors, as owners, that will be with us for the majority of our lives. Okay?
Yeah.
We're inventors. We're innovators. We are people that always tend to want more, right? We're it's tough for us to be satisfied. Okay, it doesn't mean that we're not grateful, but being an entrepreneur in itself is a certain type of profile in a person that you want to be in control. Okay, you want to be the leader. You want to be, you want to be able to take your dreams, buffaloes, and make them reality. And a lot of people will go, "You're fucking crazy. What do you mean buffaloes? What are you, nuts?" Right? Versus like, "No, man, like it's gonna happen." They're like, "Yeah, okay, dude." Meanwhile, then when it happens, they're like, "You're still crazy," right? I guess my point is back to chaos is there'll always be some form of chaos in the sense of how we think from the perspective of we're always thinking, okay? It's how do you get better at thinking about the right things that are the right level of value. They're going to have the right level of impact, right?
Yeah.
And so, and part of these podcasts, I think, have you listened to any of them?
Yeah, they're great.
Well, you've heard sometimes where I go, "Hey man, we're going to do some coaching." Have you heard that?
Yep.
Yeah, well, guess what? Today is a good day to do that again. What do you think?
Good.
Cool. So, and by the way, why do I do this? I do it because, I'll never forget my brother. I used to do a lot of martial arts when I was younger. And maybe it was a lot of headshots that caused this. But anyways, and he said, Andrew, you can shadow box all day long, but you're not really going to know how to box until you take a hit. And you're like, seriously? He's like, yeah, you need to know how to take a hit. Because I don't want to beat the crap out of you, but unless you take a hit, dude, you're not going to really learn the lesson of why you need to put those hands up, right?
Oh, yeah.
Why you need to be in that stance until it fucking hurts enough that you go, I gotta fucking hold those hands up, right? So why do I do this? Because if I can't play at this level, if people can't experience what coaching is like, then how are they ever going to know? And what kind of what kind of congruency would I be to say that we're a great coaching company and we help people and we got a whole coaching department if I can't even coach you through something live? How's that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. And you weren't prepared for this, were you?
Nope.
Perfect. All right. So let's talk a little bit about chaos. Okay. So when you look at chaos is, first of all, from a coaching perspective, everybody listening in, most of you guys are in chaos. But you're in the wrong type of chaos. What do I mean? You're in chaos. A lot of the chaos is caused from symptoms of you doing a lot of shit that you really shouldn't be doing. Okay? Make sense? Okay. So if I look at you and where you're at with your definition of chaos, when you look at chaos, describe to me, and one of the things everybody listening in on coaching is if I allow him to list 100 things, he's never going to make any progress. He'll actually leave this podcast with more chaos. Make sense?
Oh yeah.
So you have to approach a problem with Einstein with a different level of thinking than what caused the problem. Right? So if you approach chaos with chaos, you get more chaos. If you coach chaos with structure and a process, you're going to get less chaos. So long as the structure outweighs whatever that one thing of chaos is that you're addressing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. That's actually mechanics and physics, isn't it? If one force is greater than the other force, the one force will outweigh the other force and take over. Same as your buffalo. Same thing, right? Hence why don't get in front of a buffalo, because the fucking buffalo will run you over, dude. I don't care how big of a bodybuilder you are, the buffalo's going to win. So what would be, if you were to look at, okay, so everybody listen in, if you were to look at chaos and categorize, is the chaos, does it come from time and team? Does it come out of profits and cash flow? Now, it could be all of them, but you have to pick. I'm only going to allow you to pick one. Does it feel like it's coming out of time and team, profits and cash flow, or marketing and sales? Which one, if you were to pick, creates the greatest amount of chaos?
Time and team every day.
Every day. I sort of knew you were going to pick that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if we look at this, let's separate it. Okay. Is it going to be more of your time or your team's time or team's engagement that create the majority of the chaos in that bucket?
It's the team's engagement.
Perfect. Okay. So now we're focusing, notice everybody, we've honed this in instead of 6 areas, right? We're now honed in on one, which we're going to focus in on the team. Doesn't mean that Jason doesn't have chaos for himself when he wakes up and looks in the mirror, like in his own mind, okay? But we're going to focus in on this team, okay? So everybody listening in on this, you're potentially getting coached if you follow through the process, okay? If this resonates with you, okay? If the majority of your chaos was coming out of profits, okay, or cash flow, okay, then what I'm about to teach Jason or walk through with Jason is not going to resonate as much with you. That's why this is where coaching comes into play, right? It's focusing in on what this person's challenges are, but with core principles that applies to everybody in that area. Okay, so here we go. Tell me what is some of the things, if you're to pick like the top 3 things that create chaos when you pick team, what would those 3 things be?
Accountability.
Okay.
Communication. And standards.
Okay.
And okay. I can tell you right now, I don't know where you're going with this, but I can tell you right now, I already know the answers to my problems because of PFC. I have to get out of my own way and do what I'm supposed to be doing. And I already know what I'm supposed to be doing. It's just one very, very, very minute step at a time. And I'm probably pretty stubborn comparatively to most people. So
actually, most owners are incredibly stubborn.
Okay.
Why would I say that? Well, at one point you used to work for somebody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're so stubborn, you can use a different description, but you're so stubborn to have it done your way. Or you didn't like the fucking environment so much that you were like, fuck, that's it. I'm a stubborn whatever, SOB. I'm out of here. I'm going to do it my way. Is that true?
Yep. Yeah.
I think 90% of you guys listening in, that's actually what happened. And I'm one of them. Okay? I quit like 4 jobs where I was lucky enough to be the rock star sort of thing. I was wearing the cape. I was good at what I was doing. I was confident in what I was doing. I could see things other people couldn't see. And then it just drove me freaking crazy. Like that nobody would do anything about this, right? So I pulled the chute, right? So if we're looking at this, let's walk through this just really quickly. Is if I was to ask you now, how clear is your game plan? You said you know what you've got to do, right? And you got to be brutally honest, because this is no bullshit podcast. Yeah, this is
how clear is my game plan?
Yeah.
Oh, I know exactly what I got to do. So okay,
hold it. Okay, hold it. So you're clear in your game plan. How would you rate it out of 10? 10 being, man, I got it.
6.
Okay, beautiful. That's not that clear. Okay, so next.
It's like this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Notice everybody what's happening with Jason right now. He's like, I got this. I know what the steps are. And he just rated 6. If somebody came home and said, hey man, I got a 60%. There you go.
Yeah,
okay, that's okay. But fuck, dude, you could do a lot better.
Yeah.
So our mission right now, right? Go ahead.
It's not even passing. A, B, C. Yeah.
So I appreciate the honesty. Now what we got to do is, if we look at the game plan for accountability, how would you rate that out of 10?
So that's about specific. As far as the game plan itself, or the holding people accountable?
That you've got all the steps laid out to solve the accountability issue. That's the game plan, right? Having all the steps is a game plan, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's about a 2.
Did we do this before? Did we prep for this? You have no clue, eh? Fuck, I love this shit. Okay. So, and I had no idea what number you're going to pick. But funny enough, guys, in the next 5-10 minutes, he's going to walk away with these numbers changed. Okay? Or a number's going to change. Communication. What's the specific step? Like, same question. Okay? What out of 10, how well do you have all the steps laid out? So it's like number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 4A, 4B, 4C.
Yeah. Office side is about a 5. Field side, Coach Liam. Company cam, absolute lifesaver. That's about, I'd call it a solid 8.5. We're trending towards a 9.
And I bet you when I start talking about results, everybody, guess where he's going to have results? I wonder. Oh, fucking, that's interesting. Okay. Because he had a game plan, and then he did something with it, and it was clear enough, and it was important enough that he actually did something about it. And it made sense enough with him that, right, he knew it had the right, I call it the ice, he had the right level of impact, he had the right level of confidence to fucking execute on it. And it was like something that was fairly easy, or easier in the sense of his mind going like, I can do this. Is this true?
Yeah, that was the whole deal with company cam. That was I'm like, man, I can't be all these places, I can't be 100 miles away and 50 miles away. And then it's changing the culture of the company is what it's doing. It's a good thing.
How long did it take you to put in place?
3 weeks. And so the issue is that guys, I can't work on my cell phone. And so basically I just, hey, no, you need to talk to this guy. And then, so I'm now in the process of getting my subcontractors on that. And so basically they're going to be in the same deal of, hey, if you're not taking your pictures, then you can't be working with us.
What kind of pictures are they taking?
Just pictures of their progress. Anything. So we don't have to waste our time driving out there. We know that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. We know that there's not trash blowing all over some random lake. I mean, like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody listening in, try and finish it with Jason. A picture is worth a
1,000 words.
no son of a bitch. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But Jason, why didn't you just do this like 2 years ago?
Good question, because I didn't have the money to do it.
Interesting.
I didn't have the money, and I also didn't have the confidence to institute it into the system. The biggest thing was, I've heard 2 of my brothers were on company cam for years before. Oh, it's great, it's awesome, it's the best thing ever. And I mean, these are my brothers. Like, I trust these guys. I grew up in the same room as them, and it took people telling me, no, this is what you're doing. This is how you need to do it in order for it to actually sink in.
Yes, and I think it also took a coach to hold you accountable.
That was a big deal.
Everybody listening in, we have more accountability to other people than we do ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's amazing the things that we don't miss and the things that we show up, and the things that we do miss and don't show up. In a lot of cases, the things that we show up to, it's because the level of accountability is there. They go, I'm going to show up for that other person. I'm not going to let that other person down. But funny enough, we don't do the things to hold ourselves accountable to the things that we need to do for ourselves, because we put ourselves on the bottom of the fucking list.
Yeah.
Right? And the reality is that I think most contractors that come to Profit Contractors are those people. And why are they those people? Why are those like the right people for Profit Contractors? Because they're carrying good people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's a good quality. It's a good, characteristic to care of others and do things for other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we have to learn to also be accountable to ourselves or to somebody else so that we're accountable to ourselves. Like in this case,
Correct.
a coach, okay? Or a community or whatever, right? Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How much has that saved you in like, could you give some sort of like rough gauge of like, improved efficiency, a number of, maybe it's taxes that have gone down or complaints, or tell us about that. What's the impact?
Real short, yesterday there was an issue with subcontractors asking people who have no idea. It's like going to the owner of the building and being like, hey, do you know where the caulking for this door is? They don't know, and I'm like, you don't even need that caulking. I can see right there in the picture you guys aren't there yet. Or, hey, you guys are laying out the floor incorrectly. It saves me probably 4 or 5 hours a day. And that's 4 or 5 hours a day that we have to be driving revenue, to be working on our systems and actually stepping forward to where we need to be. Mm-hmm. It costs money, but.
How much do you save and how much does it cost?
I think it's $20 a guy. And I mean, just in fuel cost, just in fuel cost alone, it's huge. But time wise, I don't even know what to put on a value of time, because we could be running 6 projects at once. And if I'm only at one of them, it's really hard to say.
Yep. So I'm gonna break one of your limiting beliefs that you had and that you still have carried with you a bit. Okay. Mm-hmm. We got to get back to this, getting out of chaos, like after this. But I'm gonna call bullshit on something.
Okay.
No bullshit podcast.
Yep.
The fact that you said you couldn't afford it in the past, when it probably gives you about 10 to 100x the ROI, whether it was one guy or 2 guys or 3 guys, I didn't care how many. I don't need to know how many employees you had back when you said I couldn't afford it. The reality is that you could not afford not to have it.
Correct.
Right. It's, guys, everybody listening in, we have these limiting beliefs. Oh, I can't afford to get this cam system. Oh, really? So it's $20 a person. Yeah. He's saving 4 to 5 hours a day. Yeah. What's the billable hours? What's the efficiency? What's the, holy shit. Yeah, so he paid 20. He's getting 100 back. Maybe he's getting 1,000 back. What investments do you have that would actually give that back? Oh my God, I didn't think about it. But you would have to only put down $20 or $100 or whatever to get things started. And how quickly did you start getting results?
Pretty fast.
Like, dude, the same day probably.
Yeah, it was within 2, 3, 4 days. I literally had one guy on one job site, and I was like, I don't have to drive 100 miles, 50 miles each way to that job site. Perfect.
Massive, right? Massive. And it stepped up the accountability of your team, like just like that.
Yep.
Right? Okay. All right.
Yep.
So there you go. A little lesson learned, a little limiting belief. So moving forward, when you say you can't afford something, what is the reality of it? We got to go away from emotion, and we got to go more into logic and math. Every time everybody
How do we afford it?
Yes. So I got $20, even if it saved me 1 hour. Okay. Is my 1 hour worth more than $20?
Boy, I sure hope so.
Your answer is no. You shouldn't be a business owner. Okay. Okay. So let's come back to this, right? True, right? So 2 out of 10 accountability. We're going to get into the results and all this stuff, guys, in just a moment. But 2 out of 10 in accountability. Field, 8.5 out of 10 because you did something about it. Okay, as far as communication. 5 out of 10 in the office. As far as standards, tell us about that. How would you rate that? Your plan, step-by-step plan.
So it's a culture-related thing. So it's always going to be never where it needs to be until I have the right people in the right seats doing the right things. Right. And so that's probably the least clear side of it, but that's one of those things that I'm okay with that. With, maybe being a 6 or a 7, decent clarity. One of the big things that we've instituted is core values. We only have 4 core values, and it's very simple.
Tell us.
Be a lifelong learner, do the right thing, make a positive impact, and lead by action.
Love it, dude.
So that's the way that I've started framing my meetings. That's the way that I speak to my subcontractors.
Yep.
I literally insert those phrases into every conversation that I have, whether it's a good conversation or a bad conversation. These are all things that I basically just keep pushing onto onto my guys, onto the subcontractors, onto the W-2 guys. And it's going to take a long time to get it instituted.
Okay.
But there's buy-in.
No. It's not going to take a long time.
It won't?
No. If you say it's going to take a long time, it's going to fucking take a long time.
I suppose.
It does. Is every week, are you moving forward on it?
Oh, absolutely.
So why don't we just, guys, I'm not trying to do some sort of like bullshit stuff. This is reality. Is it more beneficial to say that's going to take a long time? Or is it more beneficial to say, holy fuck, are we ever making a lot of progress week on week on this?
Yeah, part of that's a limiting belief on my part, because I think that it's going to be an always evolving thing and the reality of it is, by me saying we have these core values, I literally had stickers printed. I put the stickers on everything. I put them on the inside of the job trailers, stuck on the dash. Like, when we're done with a vehicle, it's going to the scrap heap. We're not, we don't go trade it in for a new F-350 Lariat or something. It's done. So I can have those stickers all over inside that. Then those guys have to read that all the time. It's instituted. Dude,
so again, right, these are little things that we pick up along the way on these calls. Is you've made a lot more progress on this than what you think. A lot of times we don't recognize the progress we've made, right? So really, at 6 out of 10, I think you're like a 7 out of 10, if not approaching an 8. All right. There might be a couple of minor things that we could do. So to move that up, I'm just going to say, this is a quick win. Okay, so we'll give a couple of things here. Quick win is, what would be something that would tell you that this is an 8 out of 10? What would give like one thing that if you went to each guy and said, hey, what are the core 4 things, and they scored like 70-80% on it, what would that do to your number?
Oh, that would be that would be absolute satisfaction on my part, which that's not what it's all about, but it would make me know for sure that what we're doing is working.
Okay. What would be a simple way of doing that?
Ask one of the guys, what are our core values?
How long would that take you?
Oh, about 5 seconds.
You get your cell phone?
It's turned off right now, so.
Okay. All right. So right after this call, you can turn it on and do that, correct?
Absolutely.
No, seriously. Is that worthy of doing it?
I think that would be a good litmus test of whether we're instituted or we're not instituted.
Okay. Does this make sense? Do you have any
Yeah.
project managers?
Yes.
Okay. Here's how many project managers do you have?
1.
Okay. First person you're going to go to is the project manager.
Okay.
How many people does he manage?
Oh, any given day, 10, 15, 20.
Perfect. Okay. You ready for some delegation, brother?
Yeah.
You might want to write this down.
Yep. Got the book.
Anybody listening to this call, if you don't write this shit down, you might want to get off the podcast because you're wasting your time and my time. Okay. Now, if you're driving your truck and you're listening, you're like, I'm eventually going to go back, listen to this, and write this shit down. Then it's worthy of it. If not, get off this fucking podcast because you're not serious about implementing this shit. This is the No Bullshit Podcast. This guy here, Jason, is writing this shit down, and guess what? I'm going to give him my text, and he's going to send me a text, or he's actually even better, he's going to post in the Contractor and the Champion CEO group of what he did from this call and when it happens, without even getting any of the results, and just go, hey guys, this is what I'm doing, this is what I did, here's the sticker. Could you do that, Jason?
Yep.
Now you get hundreds of other people that are going to benefit, and guess what? What level of accountability do you have?
Oh, there's probably quite a bit of accountability at that point.
And is it to the right people?
Yeah, it's people who want to win. It's people who want to push.
And people are going to go, fucking right, Jason, that's awesome, great idea. And you're going to go, yeah, this is a good idea. I got to fucking follow through on this fucking thing. If they all fall through on it and I don't, that's fucking like seriously, right? So here's the steps. And then we're going to come back to another one, okay? And then we'll get the results. You having fun, dude?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome, right? And anybody can do this, can't they?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a smart guy.
Bullshit.
I can work hard.
I'm going to reach across that and I'm going to strangle you. I'm going to choke hold you, man. If I'm telling you, that's a bullshit belief, okay? But that's another session, okay? So here we go. You're going to send the text to the PM. What's the text going to say?
Hey, what are our core values?
Write that down.
Okay.
By the way, turn on that goddamn cell phone.
All right.
Yeah, because we're fucking doing this. So what are our core values? Right? So you already know what to type in, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. As soon as you do this text, you're going to turn it off. Is it agree?
Okay.
It's the rules of the game. Okay?
All right.
All right. So now guess what happens? Here's the steps, everybody, in Jason's case. Same principles. The PM needs to know what the core values are. If the PM doesn't know what they are, now we have to gauge what is acceptable. If we haven't put enough time, we haven't told this person you need to know these, or we've talked about it and it's like sort of half-assed, then a half-assed response is okay because you've only helped somebody half-ass. A lot of times what happens with contractors, we expect them to know, in this case, all 4 core values, and I go, okay, Jay, so how many times have you sat down and had this discussion with this guy in this? Well, I haven't. I'm like, so you expect him to get 100 on the test and he hasn't even been fucking educated on what to know? Yeah. Okay. That's called the dictator, not a leader, right? Okay. So you have to gauge success based upon what you think the knowledge has been imposed or put on to that person. Does that make sense? Isn't that fair?
Yeah. I'm texting all the guys right now.
No.
Just
Do
one.
not do that. Don't do that. Listen to your coach.
Different sites.
Listen to your coach.
Okay.
The PM is in charge of these other guys, right?
Yeah. So he's on a different job site than the other guy I text.
Oh, okay, that's fine. But I want to make a point on this. You can change the plan. Okay, but only once you know the whole plan. Otherwise, you're changing something. Everybody, listen in. He's changing something, and he doesn't even know the net end result that I'm trying to get. So if he leaps ahead, he actually could be doing more damage than actually benefit. Because he doesn't have the full plan. You don't have the full picture of where I'm going with this, do you?
No.
Okay, so let's get the full picture, and then you can change the plan. Make sense?
Yep.
It's like, oh man, move that wall. And I'm like, dude, I never told you that was a supporting wall. Oh fuck. Whoops. Okay. The goal here is to get this one person to know it. Okay, at this stage. So we want to get that one person to do it. Okay, if that person is actually in charge of other people, you want that person texting the other people to ask them what the core values are. Why? Because you want them to be seen as leaders. You want them to be seen as the person imposing the core values on the people below them, not coming from you.
Okay.
Because then we're not building structure. We're bypassing a great opportunity to turn this person to an amazing fucking leader. And you just rob that person. If you do that, you just rob that person of an opportunity to lead. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
And this is what you're trying to build. We have this addiction. Now maybe it's like, hey Jim, say the guys, Jim, great. Like, so once a guy gets the core values at the level that you want, okay, could take just a couple of conversations, and then I'm gonna ask you next Monday. Okay, man, it's really important. You want to tell him why it's important to have these core values, okay? But ask first. Instead of, Jim, we need to have these core values because of this. It's like, Jim, okay, so write this down. Ask the questions as to why is it important, Jim, that we have these core values? Because let me tell you something, dude. If you do not understand the answer, if you do not get that question, you do not understand their perception of what it is you're trying to fucking do.
Yeah, how it institutes into their mind of what actually has been communicated to them. Yeah.
And that is so critical, because when he does get the right why, or you add to it, and he goes, right, oh yes, right. Now you're adding to what is already in his head. That's a way easier than dumping a bunch of shit in his head, right?
Yeah.
Then the next question is this, ready? Write this down. Once you get the right why, and it doesn't have to be perfect, ask this question. So Jim, what are like a couple of things that we could do on a regular basis to make sure the team is following these core principles? Jim might have a better idea than you.
Oh, he probably does. Can't see the forest through the trees, man.
Right. Do you see what's happening here? Have we delegated something?
Yeah.
Are we creating leadership? Are we creating what's called the hierarchy of communication? You're communicating to the guy below. The guy below is communicating to the guys underneath him. The minute you bypass, dude, I'm telling you what, you just went against your fucking core principles.
That project manager's out of town, though.
Okay. So?
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. If he's managing the project, I don't be talking to the other guys.
Hold it. A project manager and core values has nothing to do with other guys being on other projects. It has to do with other people being below him and those other people knowing what those core values are. Is this making sense?
Where are you going with this?
Well, if you got a project manager and he's on another job over here, and you got these other guys that are working over here, okay? If in essence, in the hierarchy, if this is the case, that even though these guys are on the other job, he's still managing those projects and communicating with those guys.
Yeah.
He should be the person that's asking to those people the question about the core values, because he's their manager. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If that's not the case, where you might have other people that don't fall underneath him, then you go directly to those people. But whenever we can, make sure we go with the hierarchy of communication. Is this cool?
Streamline it.
Streamline it, dude. Okay? Okay, is this good? How would you rate that plan out of 10?
That's a pretty darn good plan, because then we've got buy-in from those guys as far as exactly what it is that they think we could do based on what they're hearing about what we're trying to institute. That buy-in's a big thing.
You know, it's interesting. I hunt geese. Okay? I just got into it because of my son.
Okay.
And this hunter takes us underneath his wing and he's mentoring us. And I said, how the fuck, how is it that those geese are picking us up? It's like, interesting. He's like, how many eyes are on us? And it hit me, son of a bitch. Well, he says there's 50 birds up there. There's 100 eyes on you right now. Right. They all got a different angle. They're all seeing things differently. He's like, that's their strength. Notice the ones that come in by themselves or in pairs, they got no hope. But the ones come in a flock, they're in a flock for a reason. They can see like nobody else can see, right? Your team can see like you can't see. They're out there. If we let them tell us what they see, then it's valuable.
Yep.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Is this cool?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So last little one really quickly. Okay, and like if you look at how long that would take to implement, are we talking like 3 months to actually do this little survey and ask these people?
Like 10 minutes.
Dude. How fast would this be able to give us the ability to go from a 6 out of 10 to fucking ramp it up to a 7 to an 8 to a 9 and maybe a 10? How fast? 2 weeks?
Oh, yeah, pretty quick. Because then on our Monday morning meetings, which you have to have, non-negotiable, it's one of those things where I basically say, hey, what do you guys think? How can we institute these? And then everybody shares. Everybody would be required to share, whether they want to or not.
Interesting. So isn't it interesting, the one that we're going to actually get into some of your results now, okay? So maybe another 10 minutes. Is that still good, Jay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Everybody listening in, if you go back to the recording, this is what you'll hear. Jay actually was, Jason was sort of saying it's going to take a long time to get this culture happening, okay? And if I'm bullshitting, I don't go back to the recording. He also rated this thing as 6 out of 10. He also was sort of pushing this off, going, yeah, that's just going to take a long time. That's sort of what it is. Is this true? Okay. You now are leading with a game plan instead of a 6 out of 10. The game plan would be like, give it a number. What would it be? Don't bullshit. What would it be? Instead of a 6, what would it be?
For our core values, for the
like right now, today, like what you're walking away with right now today.
Oh, 8,
The steps.
9,
An 8.
Yeah.
Right. Guys, we talked about this for like 20 minutes. Okay? So, guys, this is how everybody listening in, this is what coaching is. Whether you get it from us or you get it from somebody else. Jason can't do this on his own. No different than he's literally, I'm giving him strategies, in all honesty, Jason, just to let you in on something. You're literally coaching your team. You're becoming the coach. True? Because you're asking questions. Because you're doing it with intent. Right? And you're doing it from a strategic perspective. So you're the coach. You're not dictating, you need to know this by tomorrow. You need to fucking do this. You need to, dude, fucking, okay. That will work for like until you hang up the phone. They go, fuck, screw you, dude. Versus like, he wants my involvement. He's listening to my ideas. He's getting me involved. Now all of a sudden, how many fucking geese do you have in the air that are working towards helping you with your culture? It's not just you anymore, is it?
Yeah.
And it's not difficult, right?
No. Pretty easy questions to ask.
If you come with the right game plan. Okay? So on those other areas, like the 5 out of 10 communication, 2 out of 10 in accountability, wouldn't it make sense that you set up a one-to-one call or you get on one of the group sessions and once we get this thing nailed over the next week or two, then we nail the next ones. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about some of the results that you've gotten. Okay. So one of the things that you talked about was, we talked about resources, right? We talked about tools and training. What would you say is one of the greatest values that the coaching team has helped you with? Greatest areas, maybe.
Probably helping me systematize things. So previously, when I would do takeoffs for jobs, figure out what I'm, you call them job costing.
Yep.
When I would do that previously, it was kind of like, yeah, we'll make money at that. That's good. That's a good number. And now I literally just open a spreadsheet. I have it all. I say, hey, this is exactly how many pieces of siding are going on that job. This is how many pieces of flashing. This is what I'm going to pay the guys. This is what the dump fees are. And this is what my net profit is with my overhead absorption, with the break-even costs, with the taxes, with everything in there. And so I know.
So dude, I love this. So if we went back to the past and asked, like now I know getting ready for this, you talked with Stephanie and you're giving feedback like, now I've got 50% net profit on siding jobs, 35% net on for last year, on 13 siding replacements and things of that nature. You've got more profits, more cash. Relate this back to when you say it was like thumb up in the air. Like, were you literally that blind that if I had asked you back before you came on, you would have been like, I don't know? Would have been like that? As far as, hey, I asked for your percentages and things of that nature. Would you know?
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, it would have been, yeah, we're making money, and I wouldn't know exactly where we were sitting, what we could afford to do and what we could not afford to do, or if we needed a piece of equipment, can we afford that in cash? Do we find another way to do it? Like, those are actual questions that we can answer now, as opposed to being like, no, I think we could buy that, and then come to find out our bank balance accounting cut us short. Yeah.
Dude, so let's look at some of the symptoms of that, right? Mm-hmm. Like roller coaster.
Yeah.
Lack of confidence in your decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Lack of ability to make the right decisions and what to say yes to and no to.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the impact on the family? Like how does this carry over into, a lot of people, they talk on podcasts, they'll talk like business. And I think that's,
mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not bashing them. I'm just saying, like, here at the culture of profit for contractors, it's like, the profits pay for your freedom. We talked about the buffalo,
yeah.
Right? What was that like when you came home before you had job costs in place, before you knew your numbers? What was it like when you would come home and put your head on the pillow, like, or come home period?
It was a pretty stressful deal, pretty typically it was, you don't know when you start, you don't know when you stop, you may or may not know what's going on, you may or may not know what phone calls you're going to be getting, and what they're actually going to entail. We had an issue today that it previously would have required me to drive 50 miles each way, and then seek out 3 or 4 individuals, tell them exactly what we're doing, and today it was one phone call. And so I mean, we're making steady progress. So the way that it works with my family is, my wife works the opposite direction of where we live and where they go to school. Mm-hmm. It's 30 miles to my kids' school. So
how many
every
kids
morning,
do you have?
I got 2 daughters, okay. 5 and 14. Wow. So I take my daughters to school every day, and then I start doing whatever I'm doing. Nobody else tells me what I'm doing. I don't care if they can do whatever they want. It makes no difference to me. The day starts after I drop them off.
I love it.
And then it's this instituting a job costing system, instituting, the core values, instituting an office admin. These are things that they all take time, and some of them take money, but if they're accounted for, then it makes no difference where the money's coming from, because it's there. So now I can go pick my daughters up almost every day. There's some days where, hey, I've got this scheduled at this time, and it is what it is. But I'm a lot more flexible to do things that I need to do than I used to be. I used to have the anxiety of going camping with my family because I couldn't get internet access to do my bids. And now I literally have that licked. I mean, open the spreadsheet, tap for a couple hours, and we're done.
And then I'm hearing things like you're now on your second Ironman.
Yeah. So this fall I will do Ironman Augusta, Georgia, which is 70.3, and should go all right. We'll see.
So you have time to do training.
Yeah.
You have time to spend with the kids and the family.
Mm-hmm.
You have time to raise buffaloes.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. And you have the time to be able to look at your numbers better and know what you're making, and be able to look at the systems you're putting into play. Like, it's not perfect. We're going to get into some of the things that need to be fixed. I mean, we touched on some of them, but this is the beginning, right?
Yeah.
But you actually have the systems in place to track things better, and you're actually taking the time to look at that data that's being tracked, whether that's a picture, right? It's huge.
Yeah.
Right? You're dealing with. Oh, go ahead.
So I will say this, that we got into a project it was early last year when we got into it. It finished up late this year, and customer didn't want to pay. It was $30,000 that they didn't want to pay. I mean, it's a chunk of change. That's a lot of money. Rather than it sinking us, we basically tightened our belts for 2, 3, 4 weeks, and went and did some of the smaller stuff on the calendar, got our cash flow back in our pocket, and we press on until that's all situated out. That would have sunk me.
That would have sunk you. And is that one of the situations where you did something that you didn't do before, which is putting liens on people?
Yeah, well, Rick just told me, he said, Coach Rick, he said, you're done playing the game. It's just brass tacks. That's what it is. And so I typically would just say, well, it's a pretty small community. I don't want to be that guy. And then I just get what I get. And now I have zero attachment to it. It's money. I don't make the numbers up. They owe this much money. They're going to pay this much money. It's the way it works.
Now you're a business owner.
Yeah.
Now you're becoming a champion CEO versus like really just like playing by everybody else's rules.
Mm-hmm.
Which in some cases are not in your best interest.
Awful lot of cases.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Some of the other things that you've worked on is, getting better clients.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you learned at PFC, some of the tactics and ways that you've been able to do that.
So what I've noticed is the people who want to pay the least want the most. And the people who, the people who you're working with, I'm a siding, roofing, windows contractor. When I walk into somebody's house, I don't care what's in there. It makes no difference to me. It's their home. We want to make it safe. And they can either, choose to let us help them, or we can go move on to someone else who does want us to help them. And previously it was, man, I gotta sell this job. This would be a great job, great neighborhood. Now I'm not in control of it. It literally is just the numbers. The numbers come out where they're at. The numbers are based on square footage and what it costs to get it done. And then I'm providing the value of getting it done and doing exactly what I said I'm going to do, and producing a quality product with a great experience, because people hate contractors that don't do what they said they're going to do.
Dude, that's amazing. And I think one of the things when people come into, and guys, I'm not trying to make this a pitch. It's just either you do it yourself, do it with somebody else, or raise your hand, join the Contractor Tips group. It's free. There's lots of resources in there. I think there's like almost 9,000 people in there. And then there's Champion CO group. If you want to get the kind of support that Jason's getting. But where am I going with it? Net, one of the main things that you need to do, and Jason, I know you got in the training on this, is you need to categorize your clients. Okay. Do you remember what the categories are?
A, B, C, and D.
Nice. A stands for what?
I don't remember what A stands for, but that's what we're after. Yeah.
Awesome.
B is basic. C is can't hardly or can't do it, and D is deadbeat. Yeah.
D is what?
Deadbeat.
Yeah. You haven't had any deadbeat clients, have you?
Oh, everybody has them.
Exactly. So,
I
guys,
have less of them now.
if you don't have a system for this, I know we're talking about clients, but understand that there's a phase. First, you have to deal with the clients that you're already working with because you already have data on them. Okay? Everybody listening in, I'm not going to give you the whole training here today. That's not the purpose, but I want to let you know there's a pathway. Okay? You don't have a fucking sales board or whiteboard or some spreadsheet or some place to put these people, to list them all, you are screwed because you don't have any visual comparison. Okay? And if you think, I can just keep this shit in my head, yeah, good luck with that. Okay? Good luck with that. That means you're going to try and do it all on your own versus using the office, using your team, looking at it. You can't share it with anybody. And then every time you share it, it's a different list. Like, seriously. Okay, guys? Simple things. Okay? Simple whiteboards. Like, guys, you think, look at this. Oh, look at this. He's got the whiteboard, dude. I love it.
So what's
that over there? Look, Jay.
There you go. This is sold jobs. This is out to bid jobs. These are the ones I still have to bid.
Yes. I love it. Okay. So
super simple.
I love it. So once you rate your clients, okay, and when I say clients, that means even if you've done just one job for somebody, okay, you're able to reflect on it. You're able to look at back to this, job costs and all this stuff. You're starting to get a reality check on what defines a really good client, okay? And I've told the story maybe once before. I don't know if you heard this, Jay, but I'll never forget so many times when I used to drive around before I was like, I'm going to scale this coaching business like I did these other two businesses along with my automation business. I'm like, fucking, this is bullshit driving around. But anyways, when I was driving around, I'll never forget. I would go, hey, now's the stage where you start rating your clients. And the guy would go, yeah. I said, okay. Write on your whiteboard, write on a piece of paper, your top 3 Class A clients. Class A clients means like they're great to work with. That's all I tell them. Okay. Write down the 3. Okay. Why do you like working with them? Oh, because they're really nice. They're nice people, right? They're good to me and they give me consistent work. Okay, perfect. Can you go get your accounts receivable? Or what? Yeah, go get your accounts receivable. What's that got to do with anything? Just can you get that? Yeah, I get that. Okay. Hey, Jim, hey, Sarah, go print that off. So you bring it back. I go. Notice anything? They're like, oh, fuck. Yeah. Of course they're nice to you. You're their bank.
Yeah.
Like, of course you're getting all the jobs. Because you're the cheapest. Not the best. Oh, fuck. Of course you get their classic clients. Because every fucking change order is not a change order. It's a free order. They're like, what do you mean? You're not tracking this dude. Like, they're just milking you. And they'd be like, son of a bitch. All of a sudden it went from like awesome to like, now they're pissed at these guys. And I'm like, no, be pissed at yourself.
You didn't set the expectation.
Well, you've been telling them that they're awesome.
Yeah.
Right? So, guys, once we get that, the stage prior to that, okay, we're going to start wrapping some things up here. But once you get that, now you leverage that to filter fast, which is another process, right, Jay? Right? Which is filtering prospects. They could have been past clients. Maybe they're not past clients, but it gives you the criteria. There's a whole list of questions that we got to go through that goes in line with what we define as a Class A prospect. Because if they're not a Class A prospect, trust me, they're not going to be a Class A client, right, Chase?
No, that's true.
Guys,
any of the writing that's on the wall early is going to show up. The phrase that I use with my guys is, "Hey, your crazy's hanging out." And Well, what does that mean? Well, at one point or another, you're on an emotional roller coaster when you're doing a contracting project, and you have to manage that roller coaster. And if you're not managing the roller coaster well enough, then the crazy starts hanging out, and that's when you get all weird phone calls and all sorts of stuff.
Totally, dude. That's great. I love that. The crazy. I love that. The crazy starts hanging out. Hey, oh, there he is. Right there, she is.
Yeah.
Right there. Where? Right there.
Yep.
Right. Oh, wait. Right here on my phone. Oh, right there in the email. Oh, right there in front of me. Right. Love it. Okay, so dude, let's look at you talked about core values. We talked about a lot of different things. Let's just wrap this up with a couple of minutes of your future.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about what's your confidence in the future? What's your excitement of the future? Where's your headspace at with where you're at and where you're going?
So I'm buying an airplane.
What?
It's not gonna be this year, but I'm buying an airplane. I'm racing my dad to buy an airplane. Then that's Coach Ricky goes, well, where do you see this going? And I said, well, I mean, I don't know how I'm getting there, but I can tell you where I'm going. I'm buying an airplane. I'm buying a 10,000 acre ranch. I'd settle for 1,000 acre ranch with buffalo in South Dakota. And I'm just going to keep pressing on. The dollars and cents of it, I haven't figured out the dollars and cents of it side because I don't slow down that much. But the deal is that I know where I'm going. I just, every day I got to take my steps to get there. So there's a goal that I'm going to buy my wife. There's a company called Callaway. They do like superchargers and like aftermarket stuff on like vehicles. And they started making.
Is that what's on your hat?
No, that's my company.
Oh, okay. It's a little bit fuzzy.
This is
okay.
A Callaway Escalade. So the badging says Callaway. It has a supercharger on it, and so everything in it, rather than saying like Cadillac, it says Callaway.
Nice.
So that's on my goals of I'm going to pay cash for one of those at some point. So maybe not this year, maybe not next. It doesn't matter. We're working towards it, but we're going to hit our sales goal this year, no problem. Our net profit is far better than it was before. And the expectations for my W-2 guys, my 1099 sub crews, it's changing and it's pushing in the right direction. So.
Yeah, especially once you start the little micro plan that we had on today's call.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome. So, man, if you're looking at the guy that you're becoming and you've become, if you were to look at it and you described about your dreams, you described like you've achieved some of your dreams, you're on the pathway, you've made tremendous progress. How long have you been with Profit Contractors?
6 months, maybe. Not even 6 months.
Not bad, eh?
No, we're pushing forward, and so I talked to Sean Whalen. He's in Profit for Contractors too. Prior to signing up, he said, hey, if you think you can figure it out, don't spend the money and do it. He said, because it stings when you pay it, which it does. But at the same time, there's stuff you're getting out of it that, I mean, I'm not a really good planner, and I have tools to help me plan now. I'm not a really good office dude. And now basically I can that off onto people who are office dudes and gals.
You're not awesome at and didn't know how and the importance of job costing and how to use that and how to use the numbers and how to filter fast and right, the ROI that you get out of investing in yourself and your business is literally I'm just looking at your numbers, easy 10 plus X of what you've invested, and these are things that you're putting into play. that are principles to last the life of your business, and they're principles that you're putting into play that, in all honesty, I know this is a little bit deep, but in all honesty, and this is how I look at it, okay? I'm not saying you have to look at it, but this is sort of the culture of Profit for Contractors. These are principles that your children can learn from. Is it true?
Oh yeah, that's one of the big reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's not because I expect my daughters to take over my business or anything like that, but when they see me be able to go, I have a brother who's going to run 100 miles. You can bet his 3 daughters are going to go watch him finish a 100-mile race. Not because he likes running or because he's built for it or we're good runners, but because setting the example of, hey, this is what it takes to win, and doing these things that we don't like doing, that's important. And not doing them because we can't afford to have other people do them, or there's a lot of other stuff in that, but you got to do the hard things in order for the fun things to happen.
Totally. And the reality is, a lot of people might not know what I'm talking about, but you'll know what I'm talking about. When we look at this Contractors Ladder of Success, a lot of what you've covered off is really getting the foundational piece at startup, right?
Yeah.
There's the next level, which is like survival, which is really about like making sure we can manage the cash, making sure we got operations happening, at a 9 out of 10 on the office and in the field, and it's like synergistic, right? Then we got the next level, which is stability, and so there's levels for you. It's not just like you're aimlessly just checking off boxes, right? It's you're literally graduating from doing things foundationally and building upon it, correct?
Yeah.
And it's not a quick magic wand. Like a lot of people, people might be thinking, holy shit, that's a lot that you accomplished in 6 months. It is, but it's also a lot of work. Like, let's not bullshit anybody here. You're the one, even though we've created the templates and the tools and the spreadsheets, like, you have to listen to the training. You have to show up to the calls. You have to get, hey, I need help, and go, hey, I need help in the group, or, I need a one-on-one session with a coach. Like, I have to give it to you, okay? There's no shortage of principles, of trainings, of tools. Where there's a shortage typically, and the definition of one of the biggest definitions of us seeing success is somebody like you that takes action. And you said something very powerful. There's things in Profit for Contractors that we do get excited about, okay? Where it's like, oh man, I can't wait. Like today, I can see it in your eyes. You're like, I'm excited. Like, I can't wait to send this text, and I can't wait to see what the response, like, fuck it, I can do this, right? But there's also things where it's like, I don't want to do that, but you do it. And that's part of the principles that we teach to our children. And as couples, as being married, there's shit that you do and I do as husbands that's like, I don't really want to do this, but I'm going to do it because I want to be that person for my wife, right? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
And this all comes into the culture of being a better person, being a champion CEO, not just of your business, of your life. So what would you say to anybody wrapping this up that's listening in? They're listening to this going like, man, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I could, listen to or look at a spreadsheet or take some of these tools, or like, I don't know. What would you say to them?
So you're only going to get so far so fast if you're doing it on your own. The phrase that comes to mind is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I think that's how it goes.
That's a good one.
But
I think there's a little change to it.
Go together with the right people.
If you want to go fast and crash, go alone.
Yeah.
Right? You'll go fast. Oh yeah. It might be a tap. It might be a 2x4, or it might be a fucking transport truck hitting you. Oh, you'll go fast.
Yeah, that's true.
And when it hits you, it's going to hurt. You might not even know what hit you, but it's going to fucking hurt. Hurt your marriage, hurt your relationship with your kids, hurt your relationship with your team, your clients. It's going to hurt. And some of those things that hurt, I'm going to be honest with you, just like when I was doing martial arts and shit, I got scars. They're scars. They don't go away, right?
Yeah.
And that's it. You missed it. Right? Your children, once they're an adult, they don't go back to being kids again.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, dude. Awesome. I love it. So we'll stick around just to make sure we get the recording uploaded. My team says I got to do that, so we'll do that. Following the process, everybody. And thanks, brother. I'm so proud of you, and I'm proud of what you're doing with your business and your life. And I love that you got these dreams and you're executing on them, and they're your dreams, man. That's what, I think that's the best part, right? It's the shit that you want, right? It's not what everybody else is imposing on you. And it's like, I love the plane, man. Like okay, my dad, and the fact that your dad and you are like, hey man, who's gonna get the plane first is like wicked. Love competition, right?
Yeah, he says he's going to be slower because he needs a crew and all this other stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, all right. Sounds like you're bowing out of this one already.
Yeah, exactly. When the excuses start after you've signed up to a competition, it's like, yeah, okay, dude.
But he did send me a picture of a boat, and he said, that's the one I want. And I said, okay, I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
That's awesome, dude. Okay, so stick around, so we'll make sure this baby gets uploaded. And thanks, everybody, for listening in. You know, post your questions, I'm sure there's a little recording after this. I know there's a recording that talks about join the Contractor Tips group. You know, one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is raise your hand, ask for help. Don't do it alone. And it's not about becoming a client. It's about, you know, taking advantage of the shit that you learn on these podcasts and doing something with it. Even if you don't watch another damn podcast until you even do what I coach Jason on, or whatever the strategy is. I don't want you to watch them all. I want you to watch a podcast, do something with it, and then come back and go, holy fuck, it worked. I can do this. And then move forward. Okay? All right. Thanks, brother. Stay on. We'll talk to you in a bit. Ciao. Hey, Rockstar, I hope that you enjoyed that one. I mean, if you did like this podcast, leave a review, leave a comment. You know, this will help us a lot to keep you bringing the gold, allowing you to delegate, dominate, and deliver so you can take your contracting business to the next level. Now, make sure you subscribe, get the latest teachings and insights, and we will see you back here for another No Bullshit podcast. No, seriously.